My name is Vicky and I live in Cumberland, Maine. I'm 58 years old and I identify with the people in recovery from alcohol. I started drinking when I was a very young age. I was like 14. I now actually identify as being an introvert, which I don't think of as a bad thing anymore. But then it was kind of painful. I was really shy. And when I started using alcohol, it loosened me up, made me able to be more social. And when I started going to high school and meeting other people my age, it wasn't easy for me because I was always really shy. I had been sexually abused when I was a young child up through my later teen years. And I just, it was almost as if I was in denial that it wasn't happening. I was denying that it was really affecting me in any way. But what was really happening was my alcohol use started to get worse and worse and worse over the years. I figured that out right off the bat, that by doing that, I was blocking that pain, blocking the flashbacks. My parents were very loving, caring parents, and neither one of them drank. I didn't live in that kind of a home, but it was this other family member who no longer is a family member, who should have been amongst the adults who were protecting me and taking care of me, but that was not the case. And in my young little brain, I really couldn't figure that out, and I didn't really know. I didn't know what was going on. So once I took that first drink, it was kind of this almost unconscious thing of like, okay, this is going to help me get through all this weirdness, because I really didn't know what else to do. I actually grew up in a little city outside of Boston, so I moved to Maine when I was 19, 20 years old. And so in my young adulthood, it was all about going down to the old port and partying and drinking, never thinking anything of it. And, through that time, I got myself into some really dangerous situations. It just was one of those long, slow slides, like just the drinking just increased year by year by year by year. I did get married. I went back to school. I got a degree. Drank through all of that, somehow managed to accomplish it. About 2 years after I got married, I got pregnant with my daughter, and I didn't drink for the time I was pregnant. Like up until now, that was like the longest stretch that I ever had without alcohol. Thank goodness. Thank goodness I managed that. And then after, when she was a little baby, but then I would always find a way to have somebody available to take care of her or watch her, or, I would wait until my husband got home from work, and then I would start in with the wine. And wine was definitely my poison of choice. Then my daughter was older, and she went away to college, and then that just opened the door. Now with my daughter not around and not even, not really having to think about anything else or any other responsibilities that way, I really started to drink really, really, really hard, and started missing work and being sick and hungover all the time. It was just so part of me and in my system and part of my life that I knew that something was up, but I couldn't stop. And at that point, I didn't even really want to stop. There were, some other things going on. My marriage wasn't doing well for obvious reasons and not so obvious reasons. And again, I knew I had this cheap way out to deal with the pain of what was happening in my relationship and the confusion. Drink it away. Then I was diagnosed with breast cancer, which I've been cancer-free for 7 years now, so that's great. But now when I think back on that, it's almost like I didn't even have charge of what was happening through that. It's the whole breast cancer journey is a blur. And I got fired from my job for drinking on the job, a job I loved. I loved this job. It was that one, and then I had another one that I blew both of them. I just could not stop. I could not let it go. I couldn't bring myself to stop. I had a horrible thing happen. My mother, she actually was hit by a car and she was killed. And even, like draped across her body saying, "Mom, I promise I won't drink anymore." I didn't stop. I didn't even let that promise make me stop. It actually sent me over the edge. I got to that point where I had to. I was physically addicted. I could not function without some alcohol in my system. I tried going to an IOP a few times. I was at Milestone twice. I was at Mercy Recovery 3 times, and I would get a few weeks in. I would get a few months sober, and it just wasn't sticking. Now my dad lived very close to me. Now he's without my mom, and I'm supposed to be taking care of him at this point, and I couldn't even take care of myself. I was just a mess. And my daughter was so frightened. She was just so scared. And my husband was at his wit's end. He didn't know what to do. My whole family, my sisters, my brother. Then I'm pretty sure that my best friend contacted another friend of ours who was involved with this program where they helped people from our hometown in Boston get help, and no matter where anybody was living. And so he contacted me and said, "Hey, I heard that you were having a really hard time and that you were really sick. This is what I can offer you with the help of some other people." And I just said yes, because I just didn't know what to do. In retrospect, I kind of think it's funny that I would go to Ireland of all places to get sober, but that's what happened. And I think that was the key, because I was so far away. You didn't have to be religious or Catholic or anything at all to be able to receive treatment there. And I think people ask me, like, why did that work for you? And I think the biggest thing is the program teaches you that you're worth it, that you're worth a better life. That, yeah, I am a good person inside. I am worth a better life. I am worth, health and happiness and joy. And, I don't deserve to be miserable and sick all the time. They did definitely have AA meetings there, and they had people come in from the community to be there with us during those meetings. We had daily meditation and walking meditation, and we had group counseling, and then we had individual counseling, and it was really intense. But I think that was exactly what I needed, because the basis of it was just really teaching you how to love yourself, which I had lost. I just had lost that. I didn't even have any sense of who I was. And it was a spiritual awakening. It really was. I mean, it was like in the best place possible, right? Ireland, like, that was cool. It really was a gift. It was it was like a gift of life, like starting my life over. And I left there with this just whole new perspective on life, and I just felt so much better. I know self-esteem is like a buzzword, but that's really what it was. It was like building us up to have us all believe that, we deserve this. We deserve a better life and a healthier life. Their program asks the participants to be in aftercare. Well, I kind of couldn't do that because I couldn't stay there. But they made sure, and they helped me do this, that I had aftercare once I came home to the United States. And I went to, for a little while, I went to Catholic Charities, and I did group therapy there, and got set up with, daily meetings that I went to. I got a job. Yeah, I mean, I have an absolutely wonderful relationship with my daughter now, and she's so supportive. She really is. She always really has been. And the other gift is, you know, my husband and I we stayed married and we're working on our marriage, but things seem to have settled, and he is incredibly supportive of me and my sobriety. But I do have some sobriety practices that I have stayed with since I was in treatment. And I get up and I do a morning reading meditation. I have some day books and I read those, and I do a little bit of journaling, and I do that every morning. Yeah, I work at the Barron Center in Portland, and I work in the life enrichment department. Back after I graduated college, when Jillian was 2, that was my first job in that field. And I worked there for almost 11 years before I became a therapeutic riding instructor. When I was getting really, really sick, and that's when I was fired from the Barron Center for drinking on the job. It was bad, and that it broke my heart. I really thought that door was closed. I was working elsewhere, and a friend of mine from the Barron Center sent me a message and said, hey, you know, there's going to be a spot opening up if you want to reapply. And I said, well, I don't know if that would be a good idea. I don't think that they would even, you know, accept me or let me even apply. Well, they hired me back, and I've been back there for over a year because I've always loved working there, and I love the work, and I love the residents, and I work with a great bunch of people. So it's amazing to be back there. It's been really long, 6 years in July. And I feel solid. I feel great, but I know I still have to do one day at a time, and I still have to do the things that I do. And I've also been able to, like, through the sobriety journey, I now realize like what is really important to me and what I need to do to take care of myself, which is honoring that I'm really an introvert. Yeah, and I have said to everyone, my husband, my daughter, my friends, I even said this to my horses, that what comes first is my sobriety. I'm not gonna let anything get in between me and sobriety, because I know for a fact that if I picked up again, it'd be over. All of this beautiful stuff that has happened to me, the gifts that have been given, the miracles, would be over. I honestly felt if I didn't take that offer, that the next thing that was going to happen to me was I was going to die. It was that raw and that like real. I knew I couldn't stop where I was. There was just so much stuff going on, and I really felt like the cause of it all. I really did. So it was like I have to. This is an opportunity to get away and not die. So when my friend said that to me, like, we can send you to Ireland, to this place, I was like, that sounds like I should do that because trying to do it here isn't working, and I still want to live. So that's beautiful. That's pretty much it. I'm just thinking of what I learned. Love yourself. Love yourself. Even if you're still drinking, love yourself. Even if your son or daughter is still drinking, love them. They are still who they are. They've got this illness, but they're still who they are. They're still good people, and they don't want to be this sick. I can almost be 100% sure about that. But love yourself. Love yourself, absolutely.